Welcome to the 16th presentation in our series on action learning. We're very pleased that you are joining us. This presentation is about training others about action learning. I'm Carter McNamara of Authenticity Consulting. We're providing this series to make action learning more available and more accessible to everyone. This presentation is one in a series, and they are best viewed in order, so please be sure to visit the website listed on the slide for more information on the complete series as well as more information about our company. And so now, let's get started. If you've been following along with us in this series, then you've come a long way already. You understand the action learning process, each of its key elements, you've designed your program and developed most of its resources. There's one more development activity to do, and that's to train your group members about action learning. That training also can be used to orient other key stakeholders, for example, members of management in order to get their support of your program. So this presentation, we'll talk about how to enroll each group member. One of the most important activities in developing a program is to train people about action learning, but a step that's often not talked about but is very important is to individually enroll each member before the training. We'll explain what that is and how to do it. The training about action learning is often called the preparatory workshop. We'll talk about the typical goals of the workshop, as well about its agenda. We'll give ideas about the activities to train people about action learning as well. One of the most important aspects of that training is to train people about how to share useful questions, that is, to do good coaching. We'll close with further advice about how to help members to learn good skills in sharing questions. Especially in the case of a multi-project program where each member might be from a different organization or even a different department in the same organization, it's important that each member feels comfortable about the program and about the facilitator. We're assuming that a facilitator will be used rather than having the program be self-facilitated right away. A good way to establish that comfort is for the facilitator to enroll the member. That's usually the first meeting between the facilitator and member, and it helps to establish the working relationship between both of them. Ideally, it's done face-to-face, so they can more quickly feel comfortable with each other. The meeting usually starts with introductions, and the facilitator explains the purpose of the meeting. Then she gives an overview of the upcoming program and gives a brief description of the role of each member. She mentions that more will be explained in an upcoming preparatory workshop, with all of the group members coming together. She mentions the names of the other group members to be sure the member can be comfortable with the rest of them. Some programs require members to sign a contract showing their commitment, for example, to attend meetings and participate in meetings, to help fellow members, and so on. This meeting is an opportunity to explain the contract and get it signed. In a multi-project program, this is also a good time to help the member to start thinking about what project he or she will work on in the program. And then the meeting ends by clarifying the date and location for the upcoming workshop. The first meeting of the group members is usually when they are trained about the action learning process. The workshop can be from half a day to several days in length, depending on the complexity of the purpose of the program. For example, if it's to address a very complex problem in an organization, then the workshop might be several days in length. Ideally, the workshop is designed by an action learning expert or by the sponsor. It's very useful to involve members in the design of the workshop to ensure the design will meet their needs as well. Overall, the goals in the workshop are, first, to get further buy-in and support from management. The success of an action learning program is based in large part on the ongoing support of management, whether it's single or multi-project program. Another goal is to form a close team. That is, the members feel cohesiveness and trust amongst themselves to begin even doing action learning together. And another goal is to equip members to begin the actual learning process. That means training members about the process, roles in the program, and about the materials and tools they will use. The workshop also is the formal beginning of the program. After a lot of design and development work, the program now officially begins. Let's look at a sample agenda for a workshop. It might start with brief introductions, then members discuss more about the purposes of the program, whether it's a single project program to solve a particular problem or achieve a goal, or whether it's a multi-project program intended primarily to develop each of the members in the group. Then, members begin to understand key roles in the program, including, for example, the client. That is the person who owns the problem or the project that they're working on. The sponsor, who's officially responsible for the program. The facilitators, and the group members themselves. If it's a single project program, it's very important that the client provide more information about the project, including, for example, how the organization chose it, background about the project, any desired results and timelines. Regardless of the type of program, members might be ready to begin establishing their Action Learning Group now. Some team building activities are often useful to help members feel comfortable with each other and to come to rely on each other. This part of the workshop might also include review of a team charter. As we talked about before, a charter is a document that specifies the purpose of the team and how it's to operate. Then members are trained about the actual action learning process. Training should always let members experience the process. For example, to take part in a fishbowl, where a small group of members do the process while others observe. Or members might use a triad, where 3 people come together and one of them gets coached by the others. Each experience should end with a debrief, in which all members share questions and reflections about what they observed. The training should also be about how to use any materials and tools in the program. For example, the guidebooks or reference cards, forms that we talked about in earlier presentations. Especially in groups that will be self-facilitated, members should practice the actual action learning process in the way that they will be doing it when they self-facilitate into the future. If members have not established ground rules for their meetings, then now is a good time to do that, especially after they've experienced action learning and how it's different from other types of group processes. Finally, members set the dates and the locations for future meetings. The length of the workshop depends on the purpose of the program and how much training the program can really spread across upcoming action learning meetings. In today's very busy world, it can be very difficult to get people together for a day or more, so it's more common now to do a shorter workshop and then to include small training sessions into each of the upcoming action learning meetings. As we mentioned, the first training about coaching usually occurs in the workshop. However, it's very useful to give continued support to members to learn even more about coaching, and this can efficiently be done after the workshop. For example, we often use easy-to-reference coaching tools. They include sample questions that members can reference when coaching in meetings. Facilitators can quickly remind members to reference the tools for sample questions when they're coaching. It also helps to send short, quick emails to members, each email with a tip about coaching. The tools and tips are extremely helpful if members will be self-facilitating and won't have the aid of an expert action learning facilitator into the future. Thank you for viewing this presentation, and we hope that you will go on to the next one. You might benefit from the following resources to add even more detail to our overviews of action learning. The website Action Learning Central references an extensive amount of free resources, including about the action learning process, each of its key elements, examples of action learning programs, and tools for each aspect of action learning. There's even an action learning glossary with definitions for each of the common terms in action learning. Our company, Authenticity Consulting, also is available to answer your questions or to help you in any other way. Our firm does very successful action learning groups around the world and for a wide variety of outcomes and applications. There's also the free management library at managementhelp.org. You can find resources and tools for almost any activity in the workplace, including for many of the activities in action learning. You can find more about each of these 3 resources by going to actionlearningcentral.com/gratis and select the presentation entitled General Resources for Action Learning. Thank you.